hello. First of all, just well done to all of the speakers today. Learning a lot, which is always great. So myself and Shane just recently completed a professional diploma at UCD Innovation Academy. We studied we studied creativity and innovation. And yeah, we had a focus on design thinking, which we'll talk a bit more about later. But yeah, so without further ado, we'd like to introduce a video to you.
Could be healthy too, tuna roll. Oh, the smell of the cheese, ham and cheese. Could be healthy too, tuna roll. We can bite it anytime, ay amor. Hello, could be in a sandwich, I prefer the avocado. And we are gonna continue this.
So they are some of my wonderful students at Future Learning. So Shane and I developed a game/workshop, and we tested it on my students. And on the student on the far left, she came to me not so long ago expressing that she doesn't feel creative, that she hasn't had any good ideas. I'm sure some of you are aware as well, our students face a lot of challenges and they can be very overwhelmed and demotivated. And as an educator, I thought, okay, what can I do to fix this? Because I recently felt the same way. That was why I chose to attend that course in the Innovation Academy, and it really sparked my creativity back. And I wanted to be able to share that with students as well. So.
Yeah, and as Meg said, that illustrates very well why we created this workshop. People struggle with their creativity, critical thinking. As we all know, our environments are typically not conducive to play, to experimentation, to exploration, to making mistakes. We're on this, certainly within business context, I'm sure it's similar in schools as well. It's exams after exams, tests. In the business world, it's output, KPIs, constant hamster wheel. So why does this matter? And I think a lot of the a lot of the talks here have touched on this already. We're a voice command away, a click away from the sum of all human knowledge, essentially, in the world. So it's critical that we develop our creative and critical thinking. And design thinking is a very good framework for that. It helps, it's good scaffold for those principles. So we ask ourselves, how can we help people tap back into their creative thinking and critical thinking? And so that's where pointless creativity came about. To create something that takes people out of their comfort zone, where it's pointless, frankly. The end result doesn't matter. It's the process of going through that whole design thinking to come out with something at the end where they've essentially learned about it. And that's the crux of it.
So that was where Pointless Creativity was born. It's a game show / immersive workshop, in which the least practical, most useless, and pointless idea wins. So it's design thinking with a focus on creativity through chaos. I'd like to know, could you raise your hand if you are familiar with the design thinking methodology? Okay. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not the risk.
Yeah. So we decided to adapt the design thinking methodology because we went through the process of learning it through an experiential way. And we wanted to democratize it,
Yeah.
I guess, yes, spread the word, because I think it's you can adapt it to everything, education, life, professional life, everything. So, we're going to take you through our game, okay? So our game is called Pointless Creativity, and we begin with the Ridiculous Challenge Drop. So the Ridiculous Challenge Drop is basically giving the students a problem statement. However, it's pointless. So the problem statement is not necessarily to do with real world situations, because we're trying to kind of take them away from that. So we created a bunch of cards, and so I'm going to do it live for you now. So the first one is, why don't you angrily, we have improve timekeeping. Okay, so we have a bunch of different cards. The possibilities are quite endless. And yeah, then the next step.
Yeah, so once they've got their head around the actual problem statement, which generally speaking is pretty abstract, it doesn't make a huge amount of sense, they have to make sense of it. We give them time to do some ideation, to come up with how they're going to ridiculously solve this problem. So we did the workshops, 2 workshops within the space of 2 hours. So, we try and condense it down quite a bit, not give them a lot of time. So towards the end of their ideation phase, we give them what we call a constraint. Now the constraint can vary, so if I randomly pick one, so it must work backwards. The product must do the opposite of what it's supposed to do. So these can vary greatly. Interpretive dance, the idea must be revolutionary, the invention must have a mind of its own, make its own choices, what are some others? Yeah. So that further creates chaos and confusion, and I wouldn't try to say upsets them, but certainly, they go, stresses them out a bit.
Yeah.
So then we move on to the prototype.
Yeah, so the students then must produce a prototype in a very short time constraint. So we gathered a bunch of different materials, from clay to buttons, wool, a ukulele, as you saw in the video, and they had to just use what they had and create something within probably 15 to 20 minutes. And then when we introduced as well the wild card, that really spun things. So following the prototype round.
Yeah, we go into the testing phase. So they generally swap over their ideas and get people to use them or pitch the ideas to see how they work, and maybe possibly adapt something, or in a testing phase, as you probably know, you find out stuff that doesn't work or different ideas are sparked off. So then they go into the final pitch.
So they're given another time limit, because in real life we have a lot of those, and they have to pitch their idea to the other groups. They have gotten very creative with their pitches. I mean, we had a song, and then they have to, we don't really choose a winner because it's pointless. So it's also taking away that element of competition, which it's completely absurd. That's the whole idea. And then the final piece.
Yeah, so the final piece is just a reflection pretty much on what they've learned in the sort of the guise of a very quick minute, whatever, TED talk, which is important, which is the education piece that, certainly in a business context you often don't get the chance to do, which is critical.
Yeah, so that was probably one of the biggest elements I took away from the course, was the reflection element. So students are constantly learning new things. I mean, they're in the class for long periods of time per day, and they don't often reflect on what it is they've actually learned. So I really wanted to incorporate that. So they had to give like a 30-second pitch. But as we were using this as a trial run, as a testing phase, we asked for more, intense feedback. So I'm just going to here. Oh yeah. So as you can see, we have some feedback from a student which said about what they learned. They said that the silliest ideas can be the greatest. Thinking out of the box can be difficult nowadays with tech tools and AI, and creating something new can be fun. And they also said that they liked the goal of the activity, that it was dynamic and involved teamwork, and that it was fun as well.